Hey everyone, how's it going? I want to ask a question that I know is something that's common that people deal with. I've dealt with it myself. In fact, even today it is something that I have dealt with, but I've realized a couple things that help with it. And I want to ask you this. Do you struggle with worry? Do you struggle with fear? Do you struggle with anxiety, stress, worry that everything's not going to work out? It's going to go wrong. You don't have enough time. You can't do anything. Everything's going wrong. And whatever you're worried about, you might not even know what it is that you're worried about. You're just worried that this will happen. They will do this. They will say that, and it will reflect badly on you. I'm going to say this. I know the truth of where this comes from. For myself, it's different for everybody else, but this is something that I'm still working through. And so I don't mean to come at this from a place of somebody that pretends like they know everything about worry, pretends like I can tell you a magic formula to stop worrying, except for this. Just stop. Focus on the joy. Focus on how things can go right. Focus with gratitude and have gratitude. Be grateful. Declare with declaration of where you're going. Declare the victory even when everything else looks like failure. And then for me, I spend time in prayer. I spend time in meditation with God. I spend time worshiping. If the worry comes in, I'm having to make a concerted, strategic, intentional effort to stop everything that I'm doing and worship for 5 minutes. This is something that I started to do. This is something that I tested out today. I've heard people say to do this. I tested it out and the worry went away. The fear went away, and then it would come back, and then it went away, and then it would come back, and then it went away, and then it would come back. And I get that, and I get that that's the cycle that most of you deal with. Most of the people that I talk with, that I coach with, struggle with worry, fear, shame, anxiety, guilt, stress in some form or another, and that all of those things are locking up the creativity that's inside of you to go accomplish what you were created for. If you are living in a state of worry, fear, anxiety, stress, and you're doing what you're called to do, the results will usually look good, but they will be exponentially less than if you had done them out of a state that was not fearful, that was not worried, that was joyful, excited, exuberant, playful, fun. And so what it is because of this, we have emotions, we have these feelings. We have to shift our state from the state of worry, fear, stress, anxiety into the state of victory, the state of victorious, the state of it is finished, the state of accomplishing, doing, finishing, and not declaring I'm struggling with this, I'm having this, but rather, this is funny, and laugh at it. I heard somebody say that before. There were like 3 or 4 people actually heard that said that, and one was from a Christian world, the other was an atheist, and they both said this. I was actually really shocked by this. A Christian and an atheist both said this, that what it says in Proverbs, laughter. Laugh at the situation. If you laugh in a season of stress and worry, it actually shifts your mind. And if you do it enough, like that, and you start laughing at the lie that you're believing. See, if you're worrying, if you're stressed, it's a lie that you're believing, and then your decisions, your choices, and actions are then manifesting as if that lie is true. But when you laugh at the lie and then you declare the truth about the situation over it, you can move forward in that. So in this, laugh at the lie. And it's funny, I said this, even the guy who did not believe in God said, whenever I'm stressed, I wrote this down, just laugh. And he said it shifted him out of that state. So this is a physiological, even a scientific type thing. And yet, if you believe in God, laughter pulls from the joy of heaven. It's what you were created with. And your mind state and your physical state matches that. And then it shifts the atmosphere, it shifts the energy. It might not shift everything instantly. And you press in and you stay focused in that, and you actually let it all go. You let go the worry, you let go the fear, you let go the anxiety, you let go the stress, and you put on gratefulness. You put on hope. You put on joy, peace. These are what are called the fruits of the Spirit. And in that, a lot of people think we have to do something and then we become joyful. Do something and then we become kind, peaceful. Do something and this is where worry and stress comes from, because then after we do that thing, then we can no longer be worried. Listen, you will never be able to do enough of anything to not be worried, to not be stressed, to not be anxious. And if your formula for not being worried, not being stressed or anxious, fearful, is by doing something, you can be easily thrown off track, because your doing of something can throw you out of alignment. What are you worried about? What are you stressful for? There's nothing to worry about, ever. Ever. And yet, me saying that right now even might be triggering. It makes me even feel something. There's nothing to be worried about ever. And then I think about the last 5 hours of my day. But when I look at the truth and I laugh at it and I say, you know what? There's nothing for me to be worried about in those situations. And I can walk forward from that place, walk into the truth, walk out of the past situations, the past time when I did something like this that felt like what I'm going through right now, but it wasn't quite the same, and I'm believing the experiential truth that is lying to me about what could happen. Replacing that with the truth about what God says, and then walking out in freedom and joy and victory, and that being my portion, worry no longer being my portion. And then realizing there are certain things that end up triggering that, and that's okay. Taking ownership over the worry. You see, a lot of times it's hard to break this when we don't take ownership over the fact that we're worried. When we say, "Oh, I'm not worried," when we actually don't admit it to ourselves and then say, "I need to shift this. I need to break out of this. I need to step into the state of my destiny, of my calling, what I was made for, and walk out of the worry and into the future, into the victory." And so if you're somebody today that is struggling with worry, stress, fear, anxiety, just try laughing. Just try that. Just try laughing. That's something that anybody can do, whether you believe whatever or not. And for me, I love to lay all my worries down and ask God, take them away. I know that He will. And give me the portion. When I don't have enough, God has more than enough for all of us. There's no limit to God. We can't even limit God. But when we try to do everything in our own strength, we only get our own strength. Man, it's huge. And I'm preaching to myself here saying that, you guys. So do you struggle with worry? Do you struggle with fear? Just laugh at it. Just laugh at the lie. Just laugh at it. Say, they're not going to be upset with me. Validation doesn't equate to my value. Being validated by other people doesn't equate to who I am. And that's the truth. The worry about upsetting people, the worry about doing something wrong, is because I'm worried about not getting validated. But when I say the truth, that I've already been validated by God, nobody else can validate me enough to get rid of this worry. And God has already said that I am more than a conqueror. And in that place, when that becomes your identity, you can move forward and nothing is impossible. Grow your life, everybody, and we'll talk soon.